Hello. Are there any questions regarding the subjects which are to be discussed? Anyone has any doubt? Fine. So today we are taking the summary from all of you. Riya, will you go for the first look? That is Natva Harim. Will you recite the same?
Okay.
Okay.
Sadhananandam sarvasiddhan sangraham bala pradotanadhyah vadami suvinikshachitam. Should I summarize the shlok?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Go for the introductory part of the Granth as well.
Okay. So, the Balbodh was written for Narayan Das Kayas, which was a disciple of Sri Mahaprabhuji. He was confused about the Purusharth even after staying with Sri Mahaprabhuji for so long and doing seva with him. When he went to his house after he had stayed with Sri Mahaprabhuji, he was still confused about the Purusharth. So therefore, he had asked Sri Mahaprabhuji more about the Purusharth. So can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
You are audible.
So then Sri Mahaprabhuji had written the Balbodh for him. So all the Purusharths have been briefly explained here. So in the first part, Sri Mahaprabhuji recites the Mangalacharan to remember Bhagwan, since it is our Pushti Marg tradition to recite the Mangalacharan before starting a new work. And Sri Mahaprabhuji summarizes the Dharma Shastras regarding the objectives of life, that is the 4 Purusharths. Any person who is a Vedic Hindu and is curious about our marg will want to know how to make sense of the 4 Purusharths and yet be on the path of devotion according to Pushti Marg. So Sri Mahaprabhuji explains how to do this in a way that we can follow the Dharma Shastras and yet be on the path of devotion. Being clear about the concepts is necessary to those who want to follow our.
Fine. Vishwanath, go for the second slok.
I'm gonna read on my brother's behalf.
Okay, no problem.
In the second verse, it explains the 4 Purusharths. Dharma, which in this case means duty prescribed in the scriptures. Arth, which in this case means making money as described in the scriptures. Kam, which in this case means fulfilling the desires as through the methods explained in the scriptures. And moksha, which is fulfilling your actions in ordinance of the scriptures.
You need to explain the division of this text as well.
The division?
It means dharma, artha, kam and moksha are defined this way, but when we add the term purusharth, it will mean that we have to follow the same as per the scriptures. So kam will mean to fulfill the desires of our sensory organs, but kam purusharth will mean that we have to fulfill those desires as per the instructions given in the scriptures in particular. You understand?
In Dharma's case, the duty can mean family or job. In Arth's case, it means making money. and Kam, fulfilling desire through sensory organs. So this can be through taste, touch, sense, or smell. And Moksha, which is just completing actions without the ordinance of the scriptures in the division.
Fine. Jay, go for the next look.
Dhanvat Pranam Raja. In the third slok, Bhagwan has described the ways of attaining all of the Purusharths along with the ultimate results. Learned sages have also described the Purusharths in the Smriti Granth. How to attain the Purusharths have also been explained by Bhagwan and sages. Bhagwan had told the sages like Manu, Kasyapa, etc. to write the explanations of the Purusharths again. This happened because the beings were unable to follow the Vedas. Ultimately, Bhagwan felt that it would be necessary for the sages to have written the Smriti Granth and simplified the explanation of the four Purusharths.
Fine. Krish, go for the next look. It will be 4.5.
Yeah, okay. So in Granth 4, Mahaprabhuji summarized the Purusharths described in the Vedic scriptures. He explains that moksha, or salvation, as other Purusharths have been explained already. Dharma, Arth, and Kam are not very important, as Mahaprabhuji goes in detail about moksha. Moksha is a very important topic, and people need to be clear regarding this. There are many methods to attain salvation. It is important to understand salvation and how to attain it.
Fine. Jayati, go for the next look.
Okay, Dhanvat Pranam Raja. So in the fifth slok, it is explained that the four main methods of salvation that a being can use. The first method is Swatamoksha, meaning a being attains salvation on his own without any help from a deity. The second method is called Parat Moksha, which means that a being takes refuge in a deity and attains salvation that way. And under Swatamoksha, there are two sub-methods called Samkhya and Yoga. Samkhya is a method requiring leaving his home and relations to attain sannyas. The method of yoga is where a being can stay in his home while attaining salvation. And when a being attains salvation or is free from the worldly bondages, it is also free from the subtle and gross body.
Fine. Krisha, go for the next part.
Yes, Ji Raja. So for Shlok 6, following the Samkhya mark, when the soul becomes free from I-ness and my-ness, which is selflessness, the soul remains unattached, and after self-realization, it becomes purified and attains salvation. When a being attains gross body and subtle body and starts developing I-ness and my-ness towards the body, it ends up forgetting its real form. By having a proper knowledge regarding the elements of the universe, a person realizes that the objective world is perishable, so that it is time to concentrate on its true form. From having an understanding, an individual starts becoming detached from the worldly objects and becomes free from the worldly bondages. Ultimately, when the soul becomes free from I-ness and my-ness, the being is now able to attain its original form from Chidansh of Brahm.
Okay. Shrina, go for the next part.
Raja.
You aren't audible. Please keep the microphone nearby. I'm not able to hear you at all.
Hello?
Yes, fine now.
Okay. Raja. So the next slok explains how
Many sages have concluded to find minor changes in different types of elements. Sri Mahaprabhuji explains how and which conclusions would be most authentic. So, the All Lady Brahma or Bhagavan as the most superior, most element, there's the same results as stated in the verse. So, whichever conclusion that doesn't include that Bhagavan as the most superior element will not attain salvation.
Okay. Vanshika, go for the next look.
We're on the Ahanta Mamanta one. The seventh one?
Yes, go for it.
So in this slok, it is talking about how the salvation can be attained through Sankhya Marg, and so only Brahmin males are eligible for this, and so the soul becomes bound to the vidya, and then they lose the Anand attribute when we're first born, and so the being attains the gross and subtle body, and so therefore the there's like a development of I-ness and minus as well as a worldly mindset. And so in the Sankhya Marg, the being realizes that the objective world doesn't exist and that one should focus on the true form, which is the soul and Jivatma. And then when this realization occurs, the being is detached from all the worldly objects and becomes free from the worldly bondages. And so the effect of vidya leaves as one becomes free from these bondages of the subtle and gross body, and so they can attain the original form, which is the Chidansh of Brahma, and which is the conscious particle of Brahma, and therefore they attain the salvation through this process. And so being attains sannyasa will find and feel a real form of his soul, and so the fruit is that the beings will make their soul free from avidya, and then they'll retain in the original form somewhere in the universe and not go to Vaikuntha.
Fine. Priya, go for the next look.
Okay. Should I read it?
Yes.
Adhyakta yogamar hi yageti manisarvam hi yamadasyatu kartavya siddh yog kritah. So for Sankhya Marg, one must attain sannyas, and this role can only be observed by the male Brahmin after attaining the complete knowledge of the elements. And so the other option is of yoga. So without attaining sannyas, we can do yoga, and a person can stay in one's own home and must be mentally detached. So there's 8 limbs of yoga. The first one is yam, which means to restrain ourselves, so we must be a moral person. This means we should not steal and not perform wrong karma. The second one is niyam. That means to do positive duties and practices like taking only basic food items and doing activities such as fasting. The third one is asan. This means a person can obtain certain asanas to develop concentration, so different positive poses. The fourth one is pranayam, which means a breathing technique in which we can change our speed of breathing to develop concentration. This will give us practice to control our senses. The fifth one is pratyahar, which means to control our sensory organs. If we're, for example, to close our eyes, we'd want to open them to see something. Similarly, our nose would like to smell something, etc. So in this method, we practice the control of our sensory organs. The sixth method is dharan, where we concentrate on some sort of form or body organ. So something like a picture.
It is pronounced as dharana. It is not dharan.
Okay, dharan. So the sixth method is dharana, where we concentrate on some sort of form like a picture or a body organ, and in this way we could it would be difficult to concentrate on something like the soul because we would not have any idea of its form. So in this way we can learn concentration. The seventh method is dhyan, where one would only be concentrated on the soul, and the eighth limb is samadhi, which means ultimate bliss and enlightenment.
Fine. Srinath, go for the next look. 10th and 11 and half.
Ten and 11 and a half.
Yeah.
In this shlok, it describes that there are three powers who can provide salvation. They are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma is respected as Guru. Vishnu is respected as Brahma is respected as Guru, whereas Vishnu and Shiva aren't. Brahmaji is the generator of life, so he can't provide salvation to the soul, since it is the reverse process of generation. Therefore, a being can attain salvation from either Shiv or Vishnu, as per the worshipping process explained in the Agam Tantra treatise.
She defined the categories carefully. Till the last slok, we were discussing about the type of Swataha Moksha. From this, the subject is switched to the topic of Parataha Moksha. It means a person will be taking refuge in some deity for attaining salvation, and those categories have been defined here. For all of you, summary has to be presented in detail. You are not supposed to just explain the translation. When we are learning the text, I am explaining the text in detail. The questions are being discussed. So whoever is presenting, prepare the proper notes and go for all the single details which have been discussed during the class. Today, just consider this as the first round of summary. You people have to present it once again. Prepare it properly. Get all the explanation from the text which has been explained during the class, the discussion as well, and present it likewise. Jay, go for the next look.
Danvat Pranam. This shlok is... Oh wait, should I say the shlok first?
Yes. Recite it.
Loke piyat prahurbhumte tan ayachati karhichit. This shlok is saying that another reason Shiv mostly gives worldly objects is because he doesn't give salvation mostly, but enjoys it himself. He never enjoys the physical comfort, so he can easily give them to his devotees. On the other hand, Vishnu mostly never gives worldly objects, so he keeps them for himself. So that means that it is easy for Vishnu to give salvation.
Fine.
Danvat Pranam Raja, we didn't do the 10th shlok.
Yes, I summarized it.
Raja.
Just Mahaprabhuji defined the subject from there, the terminating subject. Yeah, Jayati, go for the next look.
Dharma Pranam Raja. So here, even though there is a general arrangement with what fruit a deity gives, both are capable of giving the opposite fruits. And if the devotee is very close and the deity is satisfied, He can give any fruit, but it can be difficult to give a fruit opposite of what the deity usually provides. So they will have to provide extra efforts to give the opposite fruit, not according to the general arrangement.
Fine. Krish, next look.
Okay, Raja. I'm just going to read the actual shlok. Jiva swabhavato dusta dosa bhaveya sarvada. Sravandi tata premna sarvam karyam hi siddhi hati. Moksastu sulabho visnur bhogasasa sivatas tata. So the being must be a devotee of the deity to get any reward and must be completely devoted. They must perform the ninefold devotion or Navada Bhakti. And Navada Bhakti is Sravana, Kirtana, Smarana, Padasevana, Arsana, Vamdana, Dasya, Sakha, and Atimani Vedana. By performing all ninefold devotion, the being will be able to achieve 5 types of salvation by the grace of the deity. These 5 types of salvation include Swayojya, Sarupya, Samipya, Saristi, and Salokya. Devotion is the only thing that can attach a devotee to a deity. It works as a power and the most purest form of love.
Will you be able to explain the meaning of Navada Bhakti?
So Navada Bhakti are like the 9 types of devotions, different types of devotions that a devotee can do towards a deity. So Shravana would be like listening to the name of the Bhagwan and like the form. Kirtana would be singing or speaking the name of and the acts that the Bhagwan has done. Smarana is reading or hearing whatever has been spoken out about the Bhagwan. Pada Sevana is the service of the Bhagwan, so any service that you do towards him, like selfless service. Arsana is to worship the deity as per based off the scriptural ordinance, so whatever is written in the scriptures, and if you follow that, that's one form of that's Arsana. Vamdana is to bow down in front of the Lord with humble attitude, so by presenting yourself as humble and bowing down, you can perform Vamdana. Dasya is to consider yourself a mere servant of the Lord. So by being humble and just being a mere servant, you'll be able to complete Dasya. Samkhya is just creating friendly gestures or just showing love and affection towards Bhagwan, just out of pure love and no other selfish motives. And Ati Mani Devana is a completely surrenderance of oneself with all their belongings, all their personal and outer worldly possessions, including all themselves and the sensory organs, will all be given to Bhagwan or the deity in a very selfless manner.
Fine. Shrina?
Pranam Raja. So,
You aren't audible.
hello?
No, still it isn't clear.
Hello?
Yes, fine now. Maintain the same place because when last you presented, again the voice was quite low. Maintain the same place and speak out like that only.
So, in this book, it explains that in order to get evacuation to the God and his holiness, you need to carry out full surrender and duty, as in.
I am not able to hear you at all.
Hello?
Yes, this is fine. Speak from here only.
So in this book, it explains how in order to gain evacuation to Bhagwan, we need to carry out full surrender and duty. And along with the 9 commitments to it, the Varna Asmara Dharma, if those in the early stage do not obey, they will have to double their sins. For example, an individual needs to be present in order to develop. One second. Something's reloading. Hello?
It isn't much clear. I think there is some problem with your device or something. Though I'm able to hear. If you don't have any other option right now, you can go with the same.
Can I do the next slok? I'm having some problem with like my practice.
Okay. No problem. Then Vanshika, take up that shlok.
The next one or the current one?
No, the same which Reena was summarizing.
So this is talking about, the slok is talking about how scriptural ordinance is really important in the initial stage. So the devotee needs to follow all the duties that have been prescribed by the scriptures along with the ninefold devotion, and we need to follow it to the best of our ability, and this is called varnashram dharma. If the devotee stops following the scriptural ordinances, then the person attains double sin. So there's no fruits that are gained by just following these duties, but it's really important for the being to follow these duties that are prescribed towards the family and belonging, to focus on our Vedic identity and not stray away from the world, to be able to become detached from our worldly identities. And so these should be followed until we stop having these worldly identities and identify ourselves as a servant of Lord. And until this happens, salvation is achieved. And this is very compulsory in the initial stage of devotion, until we become aware that our soul is our real form and that we have no other identities.
Fine. Riya, go for the next slok.
This Itvayam, the conclusion.
Sorry?
Ityevam kadatitam sarvam niti.
No, not till that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. 18th one.
18th. Okay, I'll read it.
Take 18th one. Shrina is remaining, so she'll go for the last part.
Tadashreya tadatyata buddhye chintit samacharat swadaram anustitan vaibara udvaigunam anyata. So here it's saying tadashreya means surrenderance here, and tadiyata here means samarpan. Varnashram dharma should be followed along with the ninefold bhakti. We are not attaining any fruit from varnashram dharma, but if we skip this step, we will bear sin. We must follow all the duties that are related to our identities. So all the duties related to our family, friends, and society should be followed till the day that we are attached to all these identities. We must perform those prescribed duties. In the first state of being a devotee, it is compulsory to be dedicated to Bhagwan, but we must also perform all our duties. When we realize that we are only a servant of Bhagwan, we can skip all the scriptural ordinances, but after the previous karma is paired, that person can become free from the body and worldly attachments. So in the initial stage, if we are not, we have to follow all those same duties that are attached with our identities. And right now, in the initial stage, we identify ourselves. Being a devotee of Lalan is a very small identity. But after when we perform more bhakti and we become an advanced devotee, that at that stage we don't have to perform all the other duties that are with our other identities. So in the Kali Yuga, Varnashram dharma cannot be followed by most people. So therefore, we must follow Samanyan dharma to the best of our capacity.
Fine. Shrina, will you be able to go for the next look?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
No. It is not yet. It isn't fine.
Can you hear me?
Not much clear. No problem. We are already going to take up the summary from all of you once again, so present it at that time only.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but check some other device. Get some option, okay? By that time. Yeah. Jay, will you be able to do that? And explain the charts as well, if you can.
Pranam. Ityevam kaditam sarvam naitajnane brahma puna. The translation is iti evam is in this manner, sarvam is everything, katitam is said, aitat is this, nane is by knowing, puna is again, brahma is doubt, and na is no. Mahaprabhuji wants to explain that a being should not have a goal for attaining the four purusharths, which are dharma, arth, kam, and moksha. Only if a being develops a selfless desire for performing Bhagwan's devotion, he can be initiated into the path of Pushti.
Fine. We are concluding here for today's session, but I want all of you to present Balbodh once again properly. If any one of you haven't went through the notes, then listen to the recording, prepare the notes, and explain each and every slok with all the details which have been discussed during the class. All of you can take the time, text me in the group how many days are needed, prepare it properly, and then we'll take the summary and then we'll switch for the next granth.
Chiracha Tanvat Pranam.
Okay.
Tanvat